Right, let's get one thing clear. This is not a video about Framlingham Castle and Orford Castle, which just happened to be in Suffolk. No. This is about the ventures of Stinky the V8. It started with the plan to go up to Suffolk for a long weekend. The missus and I thought that it'd be nice going to have a look round some castles. Sorry, said the castle word. I know. But my main thoughts were, great, nice long run in the MG, which I do enjoy, to be fair. Nothing better than thrashing up the motorway at 70 mile an hour in the old V8 burbling away. But this wasn't to be like our normal weekends away. This come out to be a bit of a problem, which went on for several months, to be fair. Just digressing a little bit and looking at this wonderful track. Now, I know I shouldn't be thinking this, but I'm actually thinking, wouldn't it be great to have an old track bike and go thrashing down that bumpy track right round the castle? You know, an old BSA Bantam or something back in my day. That's what we would have had. And we would have gone hurtling around there, me and my mates, and turned it into a complete and utter dust storm. Oh, sorry, shouldn't be saying that, should I? Let's carry on with the story. Ignore me. After about 160 miles or so, we got to Framlingham. Nice little village. You can see that from the video. And yeah, if you just want to turn my voice off and watch the video and enjoy the castles and the scenery, that's fine. Well, that's not really my thing. That's her indoors' thing. I don't mind going, don't get me wrong. I expect other guys are the same, you know. You need a plan, you need somewhere to go, and if it's a nice castle or down to the beach or shopping even, maybe sometimes it's okay. But for me, it's all about the drive. But with any classic car driving, as you well know, there's always that element of doubt whether or not you're going to get back, or if, you know, it's an old car, whether it's going to fail. Well, I have to say, this was the worst instance we've had of car failure since I had the car. I think we've had it probably 3 years now, and we've done quite a few thousand miles. I mean, up to Suffolk, and that is a regular journey for us. Anyway, we made it to the castle, we got to the car park, and I could tell the old car was starting to cough and splutter a bit as the nearer we got to the castle. And I was starting to think to myself, are we going to get back? So here I am, worrying about the car, looking around this wonderful castle. And if you want to know more about it, well, just go there and buy the book. But it's been used for lots of things over the years. But to be honest with you, my main concern is the car. So, let's just go back a bit. Now, I've called this series Stinky the V8. So a little bit of explanation might be needed. Now, we've had the car for a few years. And whenever I park it up in the garage, which is part of the house, the wife always moans about the smell. So we called it Stinky. There's a bit more to it than that, actually, because the inside of the car, being leather, has got that old car leather smell, which actually I don't mind. It can be a bit overpowering, but if you leave the windows open, it sort of dissipates a bit, and I don't mind it. Anyway, so she's always called it Stinky, and I've just assumed that is the smell that she's sort of muttering on about. So me being me, I've just said, oh yeah, right, that's it, put up with it sort of thing, and not to worry. But anyway, having had the car for some time, and then she said, to me, well, no, it's not that smell. It's like a petrol smell, a fumey smell. So I said, well, you know, we're driving the car, it's hot. I'm parking it up in the garage. It's just the smell of the car because it's been used, and now it's been, you know, it's cooling down. So it's just a hot car mixed with a bit of a bit of leather interior. Now, just changing the subject a little bit. Now, just look at this wonderful four-wheeled cart. It took me a few seconds to work out what it was, but it's obviously for carrying coffins. So it's a very, very early hearse. It's got some iron springs on it, so the occupant would have a reasonably soft ride, I suppose. Not that he'd particularly notice. Now, I'd assume it's too narrow to be pulled by a horse, so I assume that it would have been just pushed along, maybe? I'm not sure. Again, if somebody's got some more information, please let me know in the comments. Oh, and this is a little shoe collection, which made my wife quite happy because she likes looking at shoes. See, unhappy?
I am happy.
That's what I thought.
Probably baby, not walk yet.
Yeah, I think so.
But look at that.
Anyway, furthering the conversation on, she said that it was more of a petrol-y smell, but she didn't say that straight away. And now let's get this straight. She does know a bit about mechanics, so her experience has been in the engineering field. She knows engine components. She's sold engine components. She ran a relatively large sort of hire and mechanical company in Asia for some years, and she was actually the manager, and she can tell you the size of a bearing just by looking at it, and she'll tell you the numbers, and I'm not just making that up. She's done it several times and helped me out. So I do definitely respect what she says when it comes to the engineering side. So finally she said, well, it's more of a bit of a petrol-y smell, and to be honest, I didn't really notice it. Anyway, back to where we are. We're in Framlingham Castle, wandering around. Lovely old kit. You walk up the steps and you go up to sort of upper gallery part, which goes around the outside. Unfortunately, of course, when we're there, part of it's blocked off due to renovation, but hey ho, you can still get up and have a bush's hook. It was a glorious day and it was really warm, so you know, it was a great day to go outside and look at castles. But you know, back of your mind you're still thinking, what about the car? Are we going to get home? I can see there's a bit of a breeze, but what a stunning view. I mean, it is a beautiful place. I mean, I'd certainly say go and have a look. These old handmade tiles look absolutely wonderful.
A bit cooler, is it? Yeah.
And a sort of mixture of flint and stone walling, typical sort of castle, I guess. There you go. You can have a cup of coffee and a cake, and you can sit outside on the grass, on the lawn. What more could you want on a lovely summer's day? Or maybe an ice cream. And if you do wear a hat and it's a bit breezy, hold on to your hat. Meantime, the V8, Stinky the V8, is sitting in the car park in the heat. And I know at some point I'm going to have to go back and have a look at it and work out what's wrong with it and how bad it is, and are we going to get home. So you can never quite relax when you've got these things in the back of your head. look at this fantastic brickwork, these chimneys. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I've done a bit of brickwork in my time, and I have to say that is really fantastic. And I don't know when it was built. I mean, you could look at the age in the book if you wanted to. You know, you go there, you do your own investigation. But look at that. Isn't it just beautiful? Now, my grandfather and my father were both bricklayers. My grandfather in particular, my mother's side, and he was a bricklayer all his life, and he would certainly have liked to have seen that. I think it was built before he was born though, so I know he didn't build it. And of course he wasn't from this area. Bit of construction work going on. And that was the reason that we couldn't walk all the way around the outside. There you go, I'll expand that up a bit so you can have a bit of a read. There you go. That's the arch on the way out. Portcullis, I suppose it would have been. Well, I don't know though. Can't actually see a portcullis, so maybe not. Now this is actually the village itself. So we left the car where it was. I'm still worried about it. But I thought to myself, well, we've got to enjoy ourselves while we're here. We've come a long way. So we had a bit of an amble round Framlingham village. And it is a lovely little village. I mean, these lovely little timber built houses, along with the, I don't know if they're Victorian or before, but brick built houses as well. Absolutely delightful little place. And this I found quite funny. You go down through this little timber and plaster alleyway, and you think you're going to go to some really old-fashioned shopping precinct, and then you go into a modern supermarket, which is okay. We've got a drink, and then we're back out again. Just an amble up the other side of the village square, I suppose you'd call it. It's a very well kept little village. It's very, very proper. It's nice and clean, tidy. Don't see any rubbish laying around or anything. Quite an interesting church. We did have a quick wander around the churchyard. Well, why not? It's there. Look at these old walls, look, still standing. We didn't go in the church. Didn't think there was much point really. Just a quick walk around the graveyard. Again, reasonably well kept. Grass has been cut. Don't know the age of the church. Someone's out there, perhaps you want to look it up, let me know. Looks like it's probably built out of flint. Obviously not as old as the castle. Well, I don't think it's as old as the castle. And again, we had to wander up the back streets a little bit. And there was some event going on. I can't remember what it was. It's something like I'll tell you what it was. I think it was an open garden day. So the whole village lets you wander around and look at the gardens. I think that's what it was. I'm sure someone's out there's going to correct me and tell me no, it's wrong. But it's either an open house or open garden. I'm pretty certain it was an open garden. And you could walk up and buy a local cake or a drink from a stand, I think, from memory. Right, and then we had a trip down to Orford Castle. So let me just explain what happened there, because we've gone from Framlingham to Orford now. There's Stinky parked up in, this is Orford car park. Now, after visiting Framlingham, we got back to the V8 and it was fine. There was no smell. I fired it up, it ran beautiful. So we started driving around a bit more. Basically, we started going back to where we were staying, and the car was running so sweet. Anyway, and her indoors said, what do you think of the car? I said, well, it seems to be okay. It was probably just a bit of dodgy fuel or something. So she said, do you think we might go to another castle? So we looked on the map. Orford wasn't that far, and I said, yeah, I think we'd be okay. It's only 20 minutes or something. So we went over to Orford. Car was running lovely, and so here we are wandering around Orford Castle. By this time I'm thinking it was probably just a glitch with the V8, nothing to worry about. We're here anyway. Enjoy it while you're here, basically. Right, Orford Castle is like a tower in the middle of nowhere. Again, if you want to look at the history, go there, have a look. Certainly the two, Orford and Framlingham Castle together, make a nice little mix. There's also a nice windmill we went past. We didn't stop. But Orford Castle, you didn't have a wander around. Not a lot to see inside. Basically, if you're an English Heritage member and you've paid your dues, you're going to get in. All these are included in the price, so you know you've got to make the most of your membership. So Orford Castle, lots of alleyways and rooms, and then you look out the window, see right down through to I think it's down through to the sea from memory. Yeah, no, it's relatively interesting. You know, it's worth an hour. Usual English Heritage signboards, which are quite informative. And I don't want to spoil your fun, so you go and do your own investigation. There you go, tells you what was in there. Kitchen, obviously, not a kitchen anymore. So it was around this time that I had a phone call from my brother. And that's why we go up to Suffolk to see my brother, where he lives. And he said, if you can get back here by 2 o'clock, we'll have a roast dinner with the family at his cafe. So I said, okay. We looked at the time. I thought, yep, should have just about time to get back if I put my foot down. So that's where we were off to next. So as I said before, you know, this is just part one of the story of Stinky the V8. Now, I know it's just us wandering around a castle, not particularly about the car in this episode, but it's just giving you the background of what's going to happen in the next, or this series of videos. So this is going to be the only one really of touring, and then the next ones will be all about what happens after this this trip, and there's a lot of it, and it's actually quite expensive as well. So okay, that's Orford Castle. I'm sure we've had enough of castles now. I'm sort of looking forward to getting back in the car and giving it a bit of a thrash back to my brother's, which is quite a nice drive. Can't remember how many miles it is now, but probably 30-40 minutes maybe, back down to Stonham Barns where he lives. Normal historical artifacts on display. There you go. If you want to read the boards, go there as I say, or do a bit of research on Orford Castle. as I say, it's not really what this video is about. It's a quick gander round two castles and the background on Stinky the V8 and what happens over the next 3-4 months. So what happened next was we got in the car and I give it a bit of a pasting back to me brothers, and the car was running relatively good. I didn't really think too much of it. So it got back to me brothers, we had Sunday lunch, and by which time it was then time to go home. And again we drove back from Stonham back down through to Tunbridge Wells. I thought, well, I better go and have to look under the bonnet again and to see what that was all about. I reversed the car out the drive and then noticed that it was a flood of fuel, literally a flood of fuel stain on the tarmac all the way from the drive, from the garage to the end of the drive. So obviously I realised I had a fuel problem. Then I parked the car back up and started the process of finding out what was wrong with the carbs and why it was flooding out.